Live from the Las Vegas Strip Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's Bettor Center Live, of course, on bettorcenter.com, on YouTube at Louis Diamond, and also Facebook. I'm your host, Brad Stein. You can listen and watch the show 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We do it live, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the weekends, hosted by Louis Diamond, but sometimes I make an appearance on Sunday, and that is the question. Will I be there this Sunday? Probably. That's a good bet right there. All right, today, guys, we are loaded on the show. It's football, and we have three sports handicappers, all professional, here to guide us, make us a little bit of money. Wow, what a Wednesday, huh? We got MAC football back. Yeah, MAC football was great. I got to watch the Ohio Central Michigan game. Started out for the first six possessions, all touchdowns, and then Central Michigan won on defense. Of course, defense wins championships. All right, guys, let's welcome those three professional handicappers, plus Paul Bovey, who will be joining us a little later, and Tony Cusimano, the man on the street, who will be in San Francisco to help break down tonight's Thursday night football game, the matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. But let's take it away. Let's introduce those three professional sports handicappers from all over. First, we have Louis Bag of Diamonds. Then we have Chip Chirimbus and Ross Benjamin. And Paul Bovey. Gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had something in my ear.
Yeah, it's me. I'm sorry. I choked on my coffee there.
Oh, was that you? Paul Bovey, welcome to the Hollywood Square here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
I love your setup there.
Great. I like having you here, Paul. Getting a lot of people. We're getting a lot of good feedback from you. They enjoy watching you. They believe you got some great content. So we're happy to have you here. I know that.
Hey, but Brad, did you say defense wins championships in the MAC?
No.
Okay. Because
yeah, I said that, but I didn't really mean that.
I think you got it ass backwards, pal.
It was just really exciting to see this game. It was just touchdown after touchdown, and then all of a sudden, Central Michigan comes up with the last six possessions, stops Ohio from scoring at all, punts, missed field goals, and turnovers. But we have a winner, Central Michigan. I enjoyed it. Did anyone watch MAC football Wednesday? Because there wasn't anything else to do or watch.
Wow.
I know
I
Ross
honestly did not.
I had better things to do.
I did not. I had a little bit of action on it though, so I actually went 2-1, but just enough just to keep myself abreast of what is going on in the first week. Which is why we really didn't do a show yesterday. None of us were really feeling too much love out there, but I do know I'm always looking for a MAC game over. I will tell you that.
Hey, Chip, come on. Don't be a party pooper. You love MAC football. It's fun. It's Wednesday night football. What'd you have? You had something better to do than watching MAC?
Yeah, just about anything.
Huh? Eating a Big Mac?
I mean, that's not my style of football. No, I tell you the truth, a little bit too early in the season. It's like and too early in the week as well. So I'm going to just sit in the back and watch the MAC for a while. It is entertaining to start the season off on an onside kick and recover it and then have an offside penalty. Why would anyone be offside on that play when the kicker's the one who's going to be recovering the ball? So it's just an incredible start to a wonderful football conference.
Good. Ross Benjamin, what did you learn from yesterday or Tuesday, Monday?
Boy, that's a tough encore to follow, So anyway, yeah, I mean, the MAC, going back to what Paul said, and, 4 out of the 6 games go over the total, historically a high-scoring conference. It was refreshing to see some football on a Wednesday night, I guess. But, again, trying to find value in games which each team is playing in their season opener, with other teams halfway through or better in the season right now. There's much better value on the boards coming forward, in my opinion.
All right, Paul Bovey, don't poo-poo on my parade. I enjoyed all those games. I had nothing better to do. I'll be honest, nothing. So tell me, what did you learn from the last couple days?
Well, there were a lot of games there that played out they're not indicative of the final score. For example, Buffalo actually had 3 defensive touchdowns in the second half. So they're a grinded out team that somehow managed to score 49 points. I also noticed that Western Michigan doesn't have much of a defense. Akron, who hasn't won a football game the last 3 years, was actually moving the ball up and down the field in the first half. So I'm going to look for some points in these Western Michigan games going forward. There's a lot of things I picked up from last night just by observation. I tend to follow the eye test more than I do stats. So I'm going to be looking towards the MAC. I've had a lot of success in this conference, and I feel that's the way it's going to go this year. So I'm going to be looking at the MAC quite hard.
That's the spirit, Paul Bovey. And we're not talking Big Macs. We're talking about MAC football. Lewis Diamond the first. What did you learn?
The first. What did I learn? I really didn't honestly learn much in the MAC football, I'll be honest. I've been a little sidetracked. I got kind of a heavy political wager going right now. So, I got a big fat underdog rolling, and I can get into that, but I know we don't really want to go here with my little craziness. So I learned a lot about this election and the way it's going. I tell you that. That's what I learned over yesterday, but we'll save that for another day and another show.
Another day and another show, but we'll start with Thursday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. One team is completely depleted. Another team is depleted at running back. This game opened up, or is currently at -7, opened up 50.5 over under. It is now at 48. Ross Benjamin, what are your thoughts for tonight's game?
This is another game. If I put it on a Sunday night or Sunday card in the NFL and coupled it with the other 14 games or 13 games on Sunday, I would not be using it. Obviously, San Francisco, not only are they really banged up in terms of the injury report, but you look at the current COVID situation. Now Kendrick Bourne, another wide receiver, is out with the COVID. And so it leaves their table very depleted. And Green Bay laying 7 points on the road, it's a big ask. In my opinion, I think they still contend. The Packers are not as good as their record indicates. They've been beneficiaries of a very soft schedule. And then you got the 49ers having lost 3 of 4 at home this year, much better on the road. So very tough call. One I'm not willing to dabble into. I'm going to take a pass on this game. I'd be interested, Brad, to hear what the other gentlemen have to say.
I'll tell you what, I know one guy who won't take a pass, Tony Cusimano, who's in San Francisco right now. Let's go to him and find out his thoughts for Green Bay and San Francisco Thursday Night Football.
Thanks, Brad. Tony C. here, your man on the street, and I'm back in Santa Clara, California at Levi Stadium, home of the San Francisco 49ers. And boy, if we got a Jim Dandy of a matchup tonight. Thursday Night Football, NFL Week 9, Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. This is a rematch, as you very well know, of the conference championship last year that propelled the 49ers into the Super Bowl with that big 37-20 win. So we've got a little bit of payback on the minds of the Green Bay Packers, and they're going to give them everything they've got. I guess you could say the old throw everything at them but the kitchen sink. Brad, your thoughts on this big Thursday night matchup, Green Bay at San Francisco. What do you think?
Cusimano, is this really a rematch of the NFC Championship game? San Francisco doesn't have Jimmy G, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle out, a couple guys on COVID watch. The Packers don't have Aaron. Oh, it looks like he's questionable. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon's out, Williams, their other running back, so that's at least 2/3. But I can tell you this, the San Francisco 49ers are 0-4 this year when they give up 24 or more points, and they're 4-0 when they give up less than 24 points. Green Bay does have a great offense, maybe a very soft defense that can't get to the passer right now, can't stop the run, but there's one thing they can do is put up points, and I believe that the Green Bay Packers will be successful. 7 points, I don't know. That's not my specialty. That is Chip Chirimbus' specialty. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the last time these two played and San Francisco jumped out to that 27-0 lead in spite of Garoppolo. Excuse me. The guy's having a bad season. It just hasn't been there for me. I've seen him from day one. He hasn't looked like the same quarterback that I've seen in the past. So now they're going to Mullins. He had a great start, and then he got bombed out. They had to move him out. He's back in the starting role again. Injuries decimating this Niner team. It's hard to make a call. This number rising like this is very surprising because I believe the Niners have pretty much dominated this series, and they certainly dominated the last time they played. But with all these injuries, I don't know if it's a play. I think that, like what Ross says so many times, that if this game was on a Sunday, I would just give it a pass. So I would take the points instinctively. I don't think it's a major move by any means.
Both teams coming off a big loss. Louis Diamond.
I'm trying to figure out a nice segue to go Mullins for 3, because that's probably about all they're going to wind up getting up there in the Golden State. A little 3-pointer here and there, which gives me a little lean on the under, but certainly not going to take that because no running game really for either one. I don't think Aaron Jones is going to be in there. Last I heard, they were seeing doubtful. So, and even if he is in there, how effective is he going to be? So I think it's up to Aaron Rodgers' arm. Now his arm, when it goes to California, doesn't work. I don't know what it is, but he does not win on the left coast. So that worries me a little bit. It's a tough game here tonight. Now it went from pick 'em all the way up to 7 because of the sicknesses and the injuries and all the problems within the 49ers. All I can tell you guys is here comes Louis Diamond with another bag of diamonds on a teaser. It's the only way to go. You got to believe Green Bay will win this game. Is the 7 going to be too much? I don't know. I would probably still bet Green Bay, but I'm not going to lay the 7. I am going to move them down. And that brings me back to the question. I know Ross and I talked about this afterwards on the show about the teasers. 81% of the time is a great number there, Ross. The 6.5-point favorite winning outright.
6.5 or less. 6.5 or less, Louis. Yeah.
They cover the number 81% of the time anyways. Did we ever find out about how many times they win outright or lose outright? Did we ever get that one yet?
I didn't look in there because if they lose outright, you're not going to cover a teaser anyway. So it's a moot point. I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that you're betting a favorite of 6.5 or less down to the point in a 6-point teaser. You want to win the game straight up. So you're banking on the fact saying, I think Green Bay is going to win, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to bet it in the teaser, just hope they win straight up. I mean, if you lose the game, who cares? I mean, you're not going to – I mean, you're betting it down because you're banking on the fact they're going to win and not cover or cover. And again, the situations in which they win by 6 or less are very rare. I mean, 19% of the time.
Hear me out now.
Okay.
All right, now hear me out. I hear what you're saying. Now hear me out.
Yeah.
You have a 6.5-point favorite that you bought down, or a 6-point, whatever. You got 81%. Now my question is how many times did they win outright versus how many times did they lose outright? Does that number go higher from 81%?
Right.
That's my question. That's my question.
Yeah.
If that number is much higher,
I see your point. At
81%, there is value in that.
No, it's a valid
That's where
point.
I'm
But
going.
again, it's a valid point. But what I guess my counterpoint to that would be that you're banking on winning, and when you tease a team down to 6.5 or less, you're banking on the fact that they're probably, you don't like them to cover, but you like them to win outright. That's, and I can see where you're going with that point. So we're going to have to agree to disagree.
So, well, basically what I'm saying is that would bring the number up a lot higher, which would make it a higher probability of playing it. So, we're trying to take the gamble out of gambling. Yeah. So we want to get the higher.
It's a valid point. I guess what you're trying to say is, they could lose straight up as a 6.5 or less favorite as well. Yeah. So in any event, I don't believe in teasers. You do. So
just taking a little step deeper.
Yeah. So, Back to you, Brad.
Back to you, Paul Bovey. 7 points. Is that too much for Green Bay to lay?
Well, last week I gave out the San Francisco team total over 25.5. So after the game, I went in and ordered a Nick Mullins bobblehead doll because courtesy of Nick, we went over that total because Jimmy Garoppolo was futile until Nick Mullins came in and rescued the day for me. So we got to the 27, we got the win. But what I'm going to use here, because as was mentioned, is a receiving corps that's depleted, but Nick Mullins likes to throw short. So I'm going to throw a few props at you that I've already played. And I think what you're going to see is Jerick McKinnon be very active out of the backfield in terms of receptions. Nick Mullins' favorite receiver is Ayuk. Ayuk is out with a COVID issue, but he's going to go to McKinnon. He's going to have to throw short. So that brings me to 3 props. I think you're going to want to go to McKinnon over 2.5. Now that's juiced up to about, I played it at 169, so you're probably better off going to the 3, probably laying 10 cents. I could see McKinnon having 4 to 5. Now last week he had 3 after Mullins came into the game for those last few series. And if you look back at the Giant game, which Mullins played, and then part of the Eagle game, McKinnon was also very active. So I would recommend going over on McKinnon, over on yardage, which is 21.5 juice, probably 23.5, 24 flat. And look to Nick Mullins to have a lot of completions here. You're not in danger of the 49ers getting out to a big lead where they'll take the air out of the ball. And because they don't have those wide receivers, or he doesn't have them at his disposal, he will look to throw short. He generally gets the ball out very quickly, and I could see him having 24 to 27 completions here, and the number is 19.5 flat. So that's where I'm going to take you with the game. I'm not on the side. I'm not on the total, but the props is where the value's at, and I'm very good at these props. I had Cam Newton, which I gave out on the show last week, over 47.5 yards. It steamed against me. I had to wait till later in the game to get it, but eventually Cam went over the number, and we got ourselves a win.
All right, guys, before we go to game number 2, this show is filled with winners, and we're going to just take a minute to highlight our winners from last show. No, we're not going to go there. We're going to go right to game number 2. Here we go. Game number 2, big one. Wyoming at Colorado State. This game opened up Wyoming -5.5. It is currently -3.5. Over under opened up at 49.5 points. It is now 54. You're seeing this move. Chip Chirimbus, game number 2, all you.
I like this game. I've had the winner of both sides between last week when Hawaii came into Wyoming. Wyoming crushed them, and Colorado State went to Fresno, and Fresno won. 2 different days, 2 different winners, and now they're playing each other. So I feel pretty comfortable with this matchup here. And I think Colorado State at home is primed to get a big win here. And it's as simple as that. I just think that even though they were pushed around their first time out, they've had time to adjust and make some moves. And Wyoming, of course, has been patting themselves on the back the entire time. And I think the Cowboys are going to get lassoed.
All right, you like the Mountain West, but you don't like like the MAC. Got it. Okay.
No, the big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, big difference. All right.
One's in Ohio, the other.
Big difference. Yes. Okay, Ross, Benjamin.
Yeah, very tough call. Very tough call, Brad, for me. That extra hook on the road certainly comes to mind. I don't like laying that extra hook on a field goal game. So again, if you're contemplating taking Wyoming here, I would pay the extra juice. I do agree with Chip. It looks like one of those zigzag theories where Wyoming coming off a loss in their opener, albeit the furious rally before they fell 37-34 to Nevada. And last week they just were out. They out physicaled Hawaii to the nth degree. I mean, it looked like men against boys last week, and a very physical Wyoming team. I'm not willing to lay the points on the road. If I had a small lean in this game, it's not a game I'm using. I would probably agree with Chip in this particular instance. Back to you, Brad.
All right. Wyoming. Isn't that Josh Allen's former school?
It is.
Alum?
It is.
Yeah, that's your boy. All right.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Let's hear what
The
Louis Bag
Rams.
of Diamonds. Louis Bag of Diamonds. Let's hear what you have to say.
I wholeheartedly agree with the zigzag theory here with these gentlemen today. I believe Colorado State is the play, and you see that it went from 5.5 now down to 3.5, but it's even 3 in some spots. So, but I think Colorado State, little money line action has a potential. Simple zigzag theory, but I also believe that the under has some value here today. There's a lot of trends that go that way for each team. 5 straight unders for Colorado State, 8 straight unders. Well, that's in November, but 11-1 in the conference game to the under. So some good solid under numbers from Colorado State. Wyoming's always bringing under numbers to the table. And but when these two teams get together in Colorado State, 5-2 the over, I have a tough time putting a lot of stock into that trend this year with no fans. I think that changes a lot. But Wyoming brings the same thing. 7-2 to the under following an ATS win, 12-4-1 to the under on the road, and 20-7 to the under their last 27 conference games. I can't see why the under won't have some value here today.
And that leaves us with Paul Bovey.
I don't have a play on this game. It's too close. There were some great points brought up. Wyoming looked great last week, and they played a barn burner with Nevada. I do have a play on the next game, an opinion, but on this one, I'm going to have to take a pass. Just a little too close for comfort.
Thank you for your honesty, Paul Bovey. We appreciate that. We're going to move to game number 3, and that is Utah State at Nevada with this Carson Strong quarterback. Nevada looking pretty good. Utah State struggling. This game opened up Nevada minus 13.5. It is currently minus 17.5. Watch that one move. Over under 47.5. It is now 56. Chip, why is this game moving so much?
Maybe they think it's a MAC game. I'm not quite sure. But, I know that I'm not a big Utah State fan here. I don't know. I have no interest in this game whatsoever. I lean toward Nevada. I think Utah State's really, really weak this year, and otherwise, I would take the Wolf Pack and or pass. I like the other one, but not so much this.
All right, Louis Diamond. Any diamonds for this game?
Well, listen, Carson Strong certainly has the look of a potential NFL prospect. So I'm going to lean on a great, a kid that's looking like a pretty damn good quarterback, but he also has the team trends going behind him as Nevada has been pretty powerful statistic-wise. And, as far as 6 out of the last 7 games, covering the spreads, 5 out of 6 in the conference, covering the spread, and 20-7 against the number after having a big game from passing yards, 280 yards passing. So whenever they do that, once again, Nevada excels the following week, while Utah State, they come in terrible, 4-13, their last 17 games versus their last 17 road games versus a team with a home winning record. So they can't get up for the big game on the road, and 9-19 overall versus a team with a winning record. So they struggle versus winning teams. They are playing a winning team. I would love to hammer this over, but I'm not sure what Utah State is going to be able to bring to the game. I believe Carson Strong will have a big game. I like Nevada.
16.5 points, Ross. Is that too much?
I don't think so. I think Utah State is horrible. Absolutely brutal. I mean, this is not the Utah State program that we've seen in recent years. And most notably, they lose Jordan Love, their star quarterback, who's now making his living on Sundays as a backup to Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Shelley, the quarterback, former Utah quarterback, hasn't looked very good whatsoever in the first 2 games. a Utah State offense in the first two contests that's averaged 10 points and 209 yards per game. That's absolutely awful. And they're going to be facing a Nevada team that's put up somewhere around 770 yards passing combined in the first two games. The only thing that bothers me is the line movement in this game sort of took a little bit of the value away from the favorite of about 2 touchdowns, and now they're being asked to cover a larger number. But I don't think it's going to make a difference. Right now, I would have to say my lean here is on the far better team in Nevada, lay the points against an offensively anemic Utah State team.
All right, Bovey, you said you had a play, so play.
I do. And the first number I saw on this was 14.5. I stood back. I was hoping to get a 14. I could see it wasn't going to happen, so I grabbed 15, and I'm now feeling good because obviously it's risen a little bit from there. I was a little disappointed in Nevada last week because I went to bed and played them in the second half against UNLV and played the team total over, and they bogged down in the red zone a few times, and I got the cover in the second half, but not the team total. So they owe me a little bit, and I think they're going to pay me back tonight because I feel they will get to 38 to 41 points here. Carson Strong is going to exploit this defense. And as Ross just said, the Utah State offense is anemic. They will win this game. They'll win it comfortably. Will it go over the total? It depends if Utah State can get 14 or more, because if they do, it probably will. But I'm not going that way. I'm just going to sit with my minus 15, and I'm going to look for a comfortable win.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We move to game number 4 of the National Football League. That is the Seahawks at the Bills. Both teams coming off a win. This game opened up Seahawks minus 1.5. It is currently Seattle minus 3 over under 55.5, which is now sitting at 55. Louis Bag of Diamonds, please.
Okay. Well, first off, I would think that Buffalo may be posers, and it may be showing. And this will be the game that will pretty much put the nail in the coffin for them being posers this season. But once again, Buffalo likes to drive you to the cliff and drop you off. So thinking that they may put together their Super Bowl this Sunday. And I'm not going to touch a side on this at all because the inconsistency of the Bills, and really, who have they beaten? They looked great in the beginning, but now, their ineptness is rearing its head. So I would have to say that the over is the only way to roll with this game. I did roll with it. We'll talk about that in my most interesting play in a little bit.
Josh Allen starts as an MVP candidate, lately struggled. But if he can't get this going and start to put up some good numbers and, score points against Seattle's defense, I don't know. What do you think, Ross? Your team. There it is.
I think it's a good spot for the Bills. I don't think he struggled. I think anybody who thinks he struggled hasn't watched the last 3 games. The problem with Buffalo right now and their struggles is on the defensive side of the ball, not offensively. I know they only put up 18 against the Jets, 6 field goals, but you look at that game and they had 10 drives, 9 of which ended up in scoring position. They had 8 field goal attempts. They fumbled inside the 20 on another occasion, and then on the 10th possession, they knelt down. Last week, there was some adverse weather conditions in Buffalo, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. So that hampered both passing games. In the other game that probably was his worst of the year was at home against Kansas City, where the weather came into play. And not only did Josh Allen struggle, but Patrick Mahomes was far from his best in that game because of the adverse weather conditions. He was saved by a really good running game. So if I have concerns with Buffalo right now, it's not Josh Allen, it's not their offense, it's their defense and their inability to stop the run continually. And, again, I think this has the look of the last team who has the ball is going to win. So I agree with Louis to a point. We could see a game where both teams exceed 30 points. But these are the kind of games from following the Bills over the years, and I'm trying to stay objective here, that they seem to come up big against quality opposition. Remember, they beat the Rams at home. That's a team that's 5-3 right now. They also beat 2 4-3 teams in Miami and the Raiders. So it's not like they haven't beat anybody. But this is going to be a true measuring stick, as Louis alluded to. Are you going to be a pretender or a contender? And this is a game they have to show, at least take it down to the wire. I think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think Josh Allen against this porous Seattle pass defense that gives up over 360 yards a game is going to have a monster game here. It's just a matter of if the defense can get enough stops against Russell Wilson in a dynamic Seattle offense. But my small lean at this particular juncture right now is I'll take the 3 points with Buffalo because they are +3 at a couple sports books over Seattle Seahawks.
All right. Thank you, Ross. We move to Chip.
Yeah. We moved to Russell Wilson, but my goodness, every time this guy's 5-2 on the year, and he's awful tough to beat. You know, everyone's talking about the defense and the lack of it for Seattle. 32 among 32 NFL teams, giving up 464 yards a game. Passing D's positively atrocious, but they do have the number 3 offense at 415 yards. But this just goes to show you how efficient Russell Wilson is. I mean, here's a quarterback now. They're favored by 3 on the road, and they're a monster on the road. 13-5 against the number of the last 18. 7-3 as favorites on the road. And Buffalo has sort of not fallen off a cliff. I mean, they're 6-2. They're just 3-5 against the number. And I think this time for them to rally around the lamppost and get their act together. I think Buffalo's in a good spot at home here, although they're only 3-8 as dogs in the last 11, 0-4 in their last 4 overall against the points. Buffalo's a tough call because I know I'm going to be kicking myself in the teeth when in overtime, most likely Russell Wilson will drive this thing down for a touchdown and win the game because that's what he does to me. But I would take the Buffalo Bills here.
Russie W. does that to lots of teams. That's what he does. Paul Bovey, your thoughts?
Mims, Berrios, Myers, Bird, and Zuber. This is not a law firm. These are the receivers that the Buffalo Bills have taken on the last 2 weeks in facing the Jets, who are without Crowder and Perryman, and the Patriots last week, who were without Edelman. And as was mentioned a few minutes ago by Ross, they cannot stop the run. Kansas City went off 46 times for 246 yards. And now they have to take on Lockett and Metcalf and Russell Wilson. This defense is in decline, and they might be without Matt Milano again, who's their best linebacker. They were the number 2 scoring defense last year and number 3 overall defense. They signed a few players. It was supposed to at least be as good or better, and it's went in the opposite direction. I'm going to go with the same theory I went with last week, and that is to take the team total, but this time, instead of going against the Seattle defense, I'm going to go against the Buffalo defense and for the Seattle offense. I've played this 5 times at Pinnacle, and I'm going to probably stop because it's now juiced a little bit more than I want, but it was 27.5. Seattle is going to be in the 30s. I can almost assure you they are not going to contain this offense. But as was stated, Buffalo will move the ball. Josh Allen, I think, will have some success. He was with it without John Brown in one of those last 2 weeks, and there was some weather issues. But I think this will come down to, possibly the last possession, but I have the most confidence in Seattle posting points, and I'm going to go Seattle team total over the 27.5 and win.
I like it, guys. Lots of different opinions on the Buffalo-Seattle game. Well, that's going to do it here for Better Center Live. You can watch us daily, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time during the week, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the weekends, hosted by Louis Diamond. Sunday, I will probably get back in this chair in this studio right here in downtown Las Vegas on the Strip to host another show. Want to give a special thanks to Paul Bovey for joining us. Of course, Louis Bag of Diamonds, Chip Chirimbis, and Ross Benjamin, and our director. Thank you, Eugene Stewart and Spotlight Film Productions, for all your help and everything that you do. You are appreciated. We'll see you. That is tomorrow, Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here, Better Center Live. I'm Brad. Have a great day. Thursday Night Football.